I just thought that I would kind of break down the assessment. I have the test in front of me. I'm going to go through each section. I should disclose that your assessor doesn't necessarily have to do everything in order. They can mix it up a little bit depending on kind of what you're doing in that moment. So, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to do it in order and kind of explain it the best that I can. This is basically a breakdown of the assessment and kind of explaining kind of what is expected of you, and hopefully this will alleviate any stresses for you. So I'm just going to jump into it. The first section has to do with your handler knowledge and the care of your dog. So I was asked, was I aware of what it took to take care of a service dog, like the vet care, the grooming, that sort of stuff. And I said yes. And then the next question that I was asked was, do I know my rights? And you just have to give a basic response. And my response was, before the assessment, I was protected under the human rights, and once I pass, then I will be protected under the Service Dog Act. So that's as basic as you need to get. Human rights, if you're not doing the assessment or have the government ID card, and protected under the Service Dog Act after you've passed the assessment. So it's very, very basic. The next two sections we kind of did together, and that was loading and unloading Jelly Bean in a vehicle, and entering and exiting a building. So we kind of did that together, and that's just to see how well behaved your dog is. Is your dog calm? Is your dog going to wait for you? That kind of thing. So it's very basic, and it happened, to do this, it was very quick, so that was kind of no stress for me. The next section, I'm going to kind of break down everything that's in this section. So, and again, it's kind of like everything kind of gets melded together almost. Number 18 on the test is healing inside a building. So all we did was just go for a walk inside the mall. And the assessor observed how well Jelly Bean heals beside me. The next one, I know there were some in the group that were worried about escalators. The assessor that I got, she expressed that escalators were too dangerous. I had expressed that Jelly Bean and I are very uncomfortable on escalators. And so I haven't really worked with her because they scare me with her. By myself, I'm fine, but having her at my side, I'm just always worried that she's going to get like a toe cut or caught or something. So we didn't even attempt escalators. And in the test, it's or, stairs, elevators, or escalators. So if you're worried that the assessor is going to get you to do escalators, just express that you haven't worked on doing escalators, and then you won't have to be forced to do that. On our walk, we walked to a set of stairs. And so I, demonstrated how Jelly Bean helps me up and down the stairs. So again, very basic. And then the next thing that I was asked to do was to change my direction, speed, whatever, while walking in this section of the mall. So, so you can do an S, you can change direction really fast. And it's just basically to see how well your dog adjusts to those changes. Obedience through narrow and tight spaces. That is basically, like the spaces between shelves in a store. So how well does your dog deal with that? And when I did that, I kind of had the added challenge of, which really wasn't a challenge, but it kind of added to it, was I had a shopping cart with Jelly Bean at my side as I was going through the various aisles in the store that we were at. Then, again, this next one could basically apply to number 18 as well, because we're doing it anyway, is obedience through crowds. So how well does your dog do when in a crowd? Is your dog going to listen to you, focus on you, or is your dog just going to be so stressed out that it just shuts down? The next one is kind of broken down into 4 different things: command, control, distance, and direction. And that's the 10-foot recall off leash. So we went to a quiet area of West Edmonton Mall to do this. And basically that's just to see, is your dog going to come directly to you? Is your dog going to listen to you and come? That's the command. Or is your dog going to like veer off and try and sniff things and whatnot? So it's just basically, on the test, it kind of breaks it down a little more complicated than that it really needs to be. It's just, is your dog going to listen to you in a recall? The sit and down command, I don't really need to go into that. And off-leash exercise. So this one is the dropping of the leash. So as you're walking, what I did is I just got ready, because I got told ahead of time that this was going to happen, and I got told to do it when I was ready, and so I just walked with Jellybean, and I just kind of draped the leash over her back and just kept walking, and and we went about, I think, 10-20 feet, and then I was to pick up the leash again. Response to strangers control. Again, as we were walking, I handed the leash to the assessor, and she walked about 10-15 feet away from me, stood there for a minute, and then returned back to me. And that's to see how well your dog deals with a stranger. And that could be very vital, especially, say, in an emergency, say you're unconscious, and a stranger, say a paramedic, firefighter, whatever, needs to take your dog so that you could get proper medical attention. It would be a way to apply this particular scenario. And then, okay, so the next section deals with distractions. Again, this can be done while doing, the walking through the crowds. So is your dog going to solicit public attention? Behavior in a restaurant. We just went to a food court in West Edmonton Mall, and the assessor observed Jellybean. We sat at a table for 5 minutes and just talked, it wasn't awkward or anything like that. It was just us having a conversation, and it was just like hanging out with a friend and kind of that kind of scenario. Like, how well does your dog do well in a restaurant scenario? Is your dog going to surf for food underneath the table that might have been dropped by the previous person who's sat there? The sit command next to a plate of food, we didn't really do that, but there was an opportunity that this kind of applied. Is I was asked to go buy a drink, and where the restaurant or takeout place that I was ordering at, there was actually a piece of pizza, I think it was like the crust or something, was right there near the till on the floor, like on my side of the counter. And so that was food temptation, and so we didn't really have to use a plate of food. So again, this can be like, is food on the floor, I guess. Is your dog going to go for it, kind of thing. The sit command while shopping carts or trolley passes. Again, I don't think we did that one, but anyways. We had, West Edmonton Mall has these stuffed toy ride things that you can ride. They actually look kind of fun. Anyway, so they were zipping by us when we first arrived and whatnot, and she didn't react. So I guess that could be the shopping cart. I don't know. The sick command while being petted by a stranger, and then the next one is also while a child approaches. These two were actually interesting when I did my assessment, is we just asked random people. We saw a couple guys that obviously wanted to pet her, and they made some comment about, oh, you have a nice dog, and so then my assessor and I both went, oh, do you want to pet her? And they were like, oh my God, really? So, and it was kind of funny in a way with trying to find a child in a mall. There were kids in the mall, but they showed absolutely no interest in wanting to pet Jellybean. And so we knew that we had to do this. So we resorted to going to the Apple store in West End. And if we couldn't find a child in there that we could ask to pet Jellybean, we were going to go to the Disney store, because that's where we knew that we probably would find a child willing to pet Jellybean. But the Apple store, we scored that, so yay. Noise distraction, dropped object on the floor behind the dog. This, again, was kind of a funny thing. We were in the store doing the aisle thing, and the assessor dropped her clipboard. Jellybean didn't respond at all. I was the one that had the startle reflex rather than Jellybean. Jellybean was kind of like, yeah, whatever. It was kind of funny. The dog aggression test. Now, my assessor didn't have a dog with her, so I kind of wasn't sure how we were going to do this, but it just so happened that when we were doing the first section, and I didn't even know this, is that West Edmonton Mall actually has a canine unit. And so timing could not have been better. At that moment, they walked by us twice, and Jellybean didn't even respond. So again, these are very basic things. These are things that, you deal with on an everyday basis, and it's just doing it in a test format. So if you are confident in doing these regularly in public with no concerns whatsoever, then you'll ace the test, not a problem. If you need to work on some things, that's fine. You can work on them and then do the assessment when you're ready. And as I said before, when you are asked to do the variety of different things on the test, you do it in your own pace. They are not going to rush you. You know your dog better than anyone, and so you know yourself better than anyone, and so don't push yourself. Don't feel rushed, because the assessor wants you to succeed, and so they don't want to pressure you into doing it like, okay, come on, do this right now. No, they want to set you up for success. So, and they want to set your dog up for success. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you are the one that's in control of the assessment. Yes, you're being asked to do a variety of different tasks, and your dog is being asked to a variety of different tasks, but you are the one that is in control of doing those things in your own time frame. So I just thought that I would assist you and just kind of help with any questions or concerns. And like I said, now that I've gone through the assessment, I can kind of say it's really not a big deal. Like I said earlier, if you're confident enough to do these things in public, then you'll do just fine on the assessment.